In today's lesson, we're going to have a look at the lowest common multiple and the highest common factor of two numbers. In order to do this, we should remind ourselves of what multiples and factors are. We said that the multiples of a number are the values that appear in its times table. Remember that the first multiple of any number is always the number itself. So for example, I could say that the multiples of 3 are 3, 6, 9, 12 and 15. All I'm doing is listing the 3 times table. If, for example, I wanted to know what the 10th multiple of 3 is, I could do 3 times 10, which is 30, meaning that the 10th multiple of 3 would be 30. We also said that the factors of a number are the values that divide exactly into it without a remainder. Remember that we can write them as factor pairs to help us do this, and we shouldn't forget that 1 and itself are always factors. So again, if I wanted to list the factors of 12, I can think about all of the numbers that times together to give 12. So that's 1 times 12, 2 times 6, and 3 times 4. So all of these 6 numbers are factors. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 and 12. We can use both of these ideas to help us find the lowest common multiple and highest common factor of two numbers. Let's start by looking at the lowest common multiple. This is sometimes referred to as the LCM. The lowest common multiple is the smallest number that is a multiple of the given numbers. In our example, we're asked to find the LCM of 4 and 6. I'm going to start off by writing out the multiples of each of these numbers. So I know, for instance, that 4 goes 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, and so on. I know that the multiples of 6 go 6, 12, 18, 24, 30 and 36, and they also carry on. To find the lowest common multiple, I need to look at both of the lists and find the smallest number that appears in both of them. In this particular question, that number is 12. If you look closely, you will notice that there's other pairs of numbers which are common multiples, such as 24. 24 is a number which appears in both lists. However, it's not the lowest number, and therefore it's not the lowest common multiple. It's really important when you compare both lists that you pick the smallest number that appears in both of them. Now, for the questions that we're going to look at, you only need to list the first 5 multiples of each number, and then you should find one that's common in each. This isn't always going to be the case, and sometimes you need to carry on for a bit longer until you find a number that appears in both of the lists. In summary, however, we can say the lowest common multiple of 4 and 6 is 12. So, your first task for today is to find the lowest common multiple for each of these 6 questions. You will need to write down the multiples of each of the two numbers, compare the lists, and find the smallest number that appears in both of them. Please pause the video now and have a go at these questions, and when you're ready for the answers, you can unpause. Here are the answers. You can see the first 10 multiples of each number listed, and then circled is the lowest common multiple. You can use this to check your answers and correct any mistakes that you've made. Once you're happy that you understand, resume the video so we can look at the highest common factor. So the last part of the lesson is looking at the highest common factor, also referred to as the HCF. The highest common factor is the largest number that is a factor of any of the given numbers. In our example, we're asked to find the HCF of 8 and 12. So to do this, I need to list all of the factors of 8 and 12. Let's start off by looking at the number 8. I know that the factor pairs of 8 are 1 times 8 and 2 times 4, which means that the factors of 8 are 1, 2, 4 and 8. If I think about the number 12, I know that the factor pairs of 12 are 1 times 12, 2 times 6 and 3 times 4. That means that the factors of 12 listed out are 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 and 12. Just like we did for the lowest common multiple, I can compare both lists to find the common factors of 8 and 12. This time I want to find the largest number that appears in both of the lists. I can see that the biggest number is 4. So I can say the HCF of 8 and 12 is equal to 4. As before, there are other common factors such as 1 that appears in both of the lists. We also have 2 in this particular example. However, 4 is the biggest number and that's why it's the highest common factor. So, just like your previous task, I want you to pause the video and this time work out the highest common factor for each of the questions. You will need to list the factors of each of the two numbers and decide which is the largest one that appears in both of the lists. Please pause the video now and have a go at these questions. When you're ready for the answers, simply unpause. Here are your answers. Below each question you can see the lists of factors and circled is the highest number that appears in both of the lists. You can use these to check your work, and if you have made any mistakes, try and correct them. Once you're happy that you've understood all of it, please take a photo of both bits of work that you completed and submit them to Show My Homework so I can see how you've got on. If you are struggling to complete some of the work from today's lesson, then please do not hesitate to get in touch via comment on Show My Homework. I'll try to make myself as available as possible and get a reply to you as quickly as I can. If the issue requires a little bit more input from myself, I might ask to arrange a time to meet on Teams where I can give you some personalised help with that specific problem.